Welcome all to the new session on block diagram reduction techniques. Today, under this lesson, we'll be discussing about basics of block diagram representation of complex control systems, the different rules associated with block diagram reduction technique, necessity of this technique, and advantages of disadvantages of block diagram reduction technique to analyze a control system. To start with, first, let me discuss the topics to be covered under this lesson. First point is, what is block diagram representation? That means how can we represent a complex control system using block diagram representation technique. Next is, what is the necessity of block diagram reduction technique? Why block diagram reduction technique is used to analyze or synthesize a complex control system. Then we'll be discussing about advantages of disadvantages of this technique. Next is, what are the basic elements of block diagram representation? And lastly, we'll be discussing about few rules of block diagram reduction technique. There are 7 rules associated with block diagram reduction technique. Among the 7 rules, under this lesson, we'll be discussing about 3 basic rules. Later, in next class, we'll be discussing about the remaining rules of block diagram reduction technique. So these are the topics to be covered under this lesson. This slide discuss about the outcome of this lesson. So once the entire lesson is completed, you will be able to understand the basics of block diagram representation. You'll be able to understand the necessity of block diagram representation and block diagram reduction in control system. You'll be able to get familiarized with block diagram algebra, and you'll be able to understand the basic rules of block diagram reduction technique. So in under this lesson, we'll be discussing about only 3 rules of block diagram reduction technique. That is, if blocks are connected in series, in parallel, or in feedback, then how can we reduce those number of blocks into a single block? So 3 basic rules will be discussed under this lesson, and remaining rules will be discussed in the next class. Now let us start our discussion on block diagram representation of a control system. See, any control system or any physical system can be represented by a circuit diagram. The circuit diagram can be electrical circuit, can be mechanical circuit, pneumatic, hydraulic, anything. For simplicity, let us draw the simplest electrical circuit consisting one resistor, one voltage source, and due to connection of the voltage source V, one current is flowing through the closed path. Now, for this circuit, we can write V equals to IR. You all are familiar with this equation. Now, for this circuit, if you want to draw a phasor diagram, this will be the phasor diagram for this circuit. So, any simple or complex circuit can be represented by a circuit diagram, by mathematical equation, by phasor diagram. There are some more other way of representation such as schematic diagram, block diagram, state space representation. Now all these methods are used to represent a particular physical system. Now for physical system representation, block diagram representation is one way of representing a physical system. In control system analysis, block diagram representation is an effective tool or effective way of system representation. By using such representation technique, we can effectively analyze any complex control system, its behavior, transient or steady state behavior. All this can be analyzed under block diagram using block diagram representation technique. So what are the basics of block diagram representation? That we'll be discussing under this slide. Block diagram representation is a pictorial representation of any system. Suppose, see, this is a block diagram of a simple system which comprises one block, one input, and one output. Suppose this is a motor. Suppose this is a motor. Any motor, or suppose this is a generator or a sensor. So any motor or generator or sensor can be considered as a physical device or physical component which should have its own transfer function. So in block diagram representation, the transfer function of that physical device is to be mentioned, and any motor or any generator or any sensor should have one input and one output. Now, if it is considered as a motor, then it should have a voltage input and it will produce angular rotation. Now, for which voltage, what speed will be obtained, that depends on the motor rating. So depending on motor transfer function, input output relationship can be obtained. So block diagram representation is an effective way of representing a particular system pictorially. In this block diagram representation, flow of signals are shown by arrow. That means this is an arrow. This arrow shows signal is being flowed from left to right side. So if this is input and this is output, signal is flowing from input towards output. In block diagram, so many components are connected in different combination to represent a complex control system. For example, suppose you have a manufacturing plant. In a manufacturing plant, several motors, generators, sensors, actuators, controllers, amplifiers, all will be connected in such a way so that it can do its desired work. So any complex control system should have a number of components, and those components are to be connected in different combination. Different combination may be series combination, parallel combination, or feedback combination. That is why it is written in block diagram representation, so many components are connected in different combination to represent a complex system. Each block may represent a particular physical system or component. As I said, this may be a motor or maybe a sensor or maybe a generator or actuator or controller. So each block will represent a physical device or physical component. That component may be motor or sensor or controller, anything. Now, suppose this is one physical component having G1 transfer function, and this is another component having G2 transfer function. So these two blocks are being connected or joined through a line. This line can be treated as output of G1 or can be treated as input of G2. So this line or this signal is interconnecting two blocks. That is why it is written Lines joining two individual blocks are termed as signals. So these are known as signals. So this is what is block diagram representation or basics of block diagram representation. Now let us move to next slide. What is necessity of block diagram representation or necessity of block diagram reduction technique? See, for a complex control system, most of the systems are complex control systems, and for complex control system, several blocks can be there. See, all these are blocks. So all these are blocks. Now, these blocks may be connected in series, parallel, or feedback combination. See, these two, these two are connected in series. These two are connected in parallel, and so on. So these are the possible combinations of block diagram representation. Now, see, different combinations can be there, but why block diagram reduction technique is important? See here, CS is output, RS is input, and this represents the entire system. In this entire system, several blocks are connected in different combinations. But if you want to get relationship between output and input, what you need to do? You need to convert these several connections, these several interconnected blocks into a single block whose input will be RS and whose output will be CS. If one wants to get direct relationship between input and output, he or she must be able to convert these several interconnected blocks into a single block in order to analyze the complete control system. That is why it is necessary to represent number of blocks into a single block. So this, what I have discussed here, all these are mentioned in these points. Now let us move to next slide. What are the advantages and disadvantages of block diagram reduction technique? See, block diagrams are very simple to construct for a complicated system. So in order to represent a complicated control system, it is very effective tool to use block diagrams for simple representation of the system. Performance of individual blocks as well as the overall system can be analyzed effectively. To discuss this, let us move to previous slide. See here, suppose this entire system is a power plant in which coal is acting as input and power is the output. Generated power is the output. Now, suppose you want to generate 1 kilowatt power, you must know for 1 kilowatt power generation how much coal is needed. For that, you should have a direct relationship between coal that is input, and power, that is output. If you know the relationship between input and output, you will be able to analyze the system very effectively. That is why it is important to reduce the number of blocks into a single block in order to get direct relationship between input and output. So block diagram reduction technique will give us direct relationship between input and output, and this transfer function can be termed as overall transfer function of the system. Similarly, suppose this is a motor used in the plant. If you want to analyze performance of the motor, you must use these two signals. Input to the motor is this signal, and output of the motor is this signal. So if you know for which input how much output is being produced, then effectiveness of this motor can be analyzed. That is why it is written individual blocks can be analyzed by block diagram representation, as well as overall system can also be analyzed by the same system. So this point gives us that facility to analyze individual block and overall system performance effectively. Next point is overall transfer function can be obtained easily. See here, let us again move to previous slide. This is the overall transfer function of the system. This overall transfer function can easily be obtained by using block diagram reduction technique from the complex several connected blocks. So these are the advantages of block diagram reduction technique. But this representation suffers from one drawback as well. The drawback is it doesn't include any information about the physical construction of the system. That means each block is represented by a transfer function. Suppose you have a motor or you have a generator. That motor or generator or sensor must be represented by a particular transfer function. Now, by just observing the transfer function, one will not be able to understand whether it is transfer function of a motor or it is transfer function of a generator or transfer function of a sensor. So physical construction cannot be obtained from the block diagram algebra. So block diagram algebra does not give us any information about the physical construction of the system. Now let us discuss about the basic elements of block diagram reduction technique. There are three basic elements of block diagram reduction technique. See, let us again move to previous slide. See here, these are known as summer. These are known as blocks. All these are known as blocks, and these points are known as takeoff points. So this is takeoff point. These are takeoff points. These are blocks, and these are summer. So these three are basic elements of a block diagram, which we are going to discuss now. See here, as I said, block is representation of any physical device or physical component in terms of its transfer function. Summer is used in block diagram algebra to add or subtract two quantities. See, A is entering to plus terminal of the summer, B is entering to another plus terminal of the summer. Hence, resultant will be A plus B. But if A is entering to plus terminal and B is entering to minus terminal instead of plus terminal, then it will be A minus B. So depending on the terminal sign on which it is entering, you will get the resultant as A plus B or A minus B. So this is the function of summer in block diagram. Next is takeoff point. What is takeoff point? Takeoff point is that point from which two or more signals are leaving or taking off. For example, suppose you have a 230 volt point which is connected to a fan. The same 230 volt is connected to a light. Now, fan will have its own transfer function, say GA. Light will have its own transfer function, say GB. So, this common input V is taking off from this point. From this point, common input is taking off and feeding two different loads. So this point is known as takeoff point. So takeoff point is that point from which two or different signals are taking off, two or different signals are leaving. So these are the basic elements of block diagram. Now we'll move to the rules of block diagram reduction. First, let us consider the simplest block diagram having one single block with RS input and CS output. For this, how can we represent this mathematically? See here, output CS is written as RS into GS. That means RS input is entering to a transfer function GS. So finally output will be CS equals to RS multiplied by GS. That means if input is passing through a transfer function block, then output will be product of the input and transfer function of the block. So CS equals to RS into GS. Based on this fact, this is the very basic rule. Based on this fact, we can move to block diagram reduction rules. First rule is, if blocks are connected in cascade or series, what will happen? If blocks, see here, three blocks G1, G2 and G3. These three blocks are connected in series or cascade or back-to-back connection. What is back-to-back connection? See here, you all are familiar with this. These two resistors are connected in series. N terminal of first resistor, N terminal of resistor 1 is acting as start terminal of resistor 2. So this is known as back-to-back or series connection. Similarly here, G1, G2 and G3 are connected in back-to-back or series combination. If two or more blocks are connected in such combination, then overall transfer function will be The overall transfer function will be product of individual transfer functions. G1 multiplied by G2 multiplied by G3. So for series connection, overall transfer function will be multiplication of individual transfer functions. Now let us prove how can we write that for series connection, individual transfer function product will be the overall transfer function. That is simplified here. Based on this fact, we can say x1s equals to rs into g1s. So it is written x1s equals to rs into g1s. Similarly, x2s equals to x1s into g2s. And cs equals to g3s into x2s. Now, by substituting this equation, by substituting x2 in terms of x1, what can we write? This x2 is being substituted by x1 into g2 based on this equation. So we'll get cs equals to x1 into g2 into g3. Now again, x1 equals to r into g1. So cs equals to x1 is, this x1 is substituted by r into g1. So cs equals to r into g1 into g2 into g3. So finally we'll get cs equals to this, cs equals to rs into g1 into g2 into g3, or cs equals to rs into g equivalent, where g equivalent is g1 into g2 into g3. So rs passing through g1 g2 g3 will produce cs. Okay, so this is the overall transfer function if blocks are connected in series or cascade. So for series connection, again I am repeating, for series connection, individual blocks transfer function will be multiplied together. Now what happens if blocks are connected in parallel? As we know, suppose register 1 and 2 are there, we all can say these two are connected in parallel combination. Why parallel combination? Because starting point and ending point of 1 is A and B respectively. Similarly, starting point and ending point of 2 is A and B respectively. So if both the registers are having same starting and same terminating point, then we can say the registers are connected in parallel. Based on that fact, if we consider this point as A, if we consider the summer as B, then G1's starting point of G1 is A, ending point of G1 is B. Starting point of G2 is A, ending point is B. Starting point of G3 is A, ending point is B. So all these three blocks are having same starting and same ending point, which implies that these three blocks are connected in parallel. So this is parallel connection. Now for parallel connection, see, the signal is in this direction, this signal is in this direction, this signal is in this direction. So all the signals are acting from input to output. Now let us assume output of G1 is X1, G2 is X2 and G3 is X3. If this happens, then X1 can be R into G1s. So Similarly, x2 equals to r into g2s and x3 equals to r into g3s. Now, CS is output of the summer. Input of the summer is x1, x2 and x3. So we can write CS can be addition or subtraction of these three. X1 plus minus x2 plus minus x3. Now x1, x2 and x3. CS equals to x1 plus minus x2 plus minus x3. If this terminal can be plus or can be minus. If this terminal is plus, then x1 will be plus. If this terminal is minus, x1 will be minus. Same for x2 and same for x3. Now x1 equals to what? R into g1. So x1 is r into g1. X2 equals to rg2. X3 equals to rg3. Now by taking rs common, we will get g1 plus minus g2 plus minus g3. So cs by rs will be this g1 plus g2 plus minus g2 plus minus g3. So these three parallelly combined blocks can be represented by a single block, that is g1 plus minus g2 plus minus g3. Whether this is plus, whether this will be plus or minus, that depends on sign of the summing terminal. So this is the parallel connection. So for parallel connection, individual blocks transfer function will be added or subtracted depending on terminal sign of the summing point. Now let us move to last slide, that is if blocks are connected in feedback. Now what's the difference between, see here also for GS and HS, see starting point of GS is the summer and ending point is this takeoff point. For HS, starting and ending point is same. But what happens for parallel connection, all the signal will be acting in the same direction from input to output. But for feedback connection, one signal will be acting towards output, another signal will be acting towards input. See here, see minutely here. This signal is acting from input side to output side. But this signal is acting from output side to input side. So a part of output, this is the output signal, a part of output is feeding back to the input side. That is why it is termed as feedback connection. So for this connection, what should be the overall transfer function? The overall transfer function will be this, GS by 1 plus GSHS, where GS is this transfer function and HS is this transfer function. Now see what happens. So the thing is, if we combine two blocks in feedback, overall transfer function will be GS by 1 plus GSHS. This is very important. Now let us prove this. How can we write this overall transfer function? See, CS equals to what? ES into GS. CS equals to ES into GS. Now, ES can be written as RS minus XS. ES equals to RS minus XS. So ES is substituted by RS minus XS. So RS minus CS equals to RS minus XS into GS. Now, XS is what? XS is equals to CS multiplied by HS. So XS is substituted by CS into HS. So finally we will get CS equals to RS minus CSHS into GS. By simplifying this, you will get CS into 1 plus GSHS equals to RSGS. And finally you will get this one. Now transfer function means what? CS by RS. So overall transfer function CS by RS is GS by 1 plus GSHS. So this is known as closed loop transfer function. This is known as closed loop transfer function. This is known as forward path. This is known as feedback path. So GS is forward path gain or forward path transfer function. HS is feedback path transfer function. And GSHS together termed as loop gain. So there are few new terms came here. GS is forward path transfer function. HS is feedback transfer function. GSHS, product of GS and HS, is known as loop gain, and this is known as overall transfer function. This is known as overall transfer function. CS by RS is known as overall transfer function or closed loop transfer function. Now, see, if you can observe here, the feedback signal is entering to the minus terminal. If the feedback signal enters to the plus terminal, what will happen? If the feedback signal enters to the plus terminal, ES will be RS plus XS. So this will be plus, this will be plus, and this will be minus. This will be minus. So here it is mentioned that closed loop transfer function for positive feedback. That means if feedback signal is entering to plus terminal of the summer, then overall transfer function will be minus. Here it will be minus. If feedback is entering to minus terminal, if feedback is entering to minus terminal, then overall transfer function here will be plus. So these are the basic rules associated with block diagram reduction technique. Once these rules are known to you, you will be able to simplify number of blocks representing a complex control system to a single block, so that direct relationship between input and output can be obtained. In next class, we'll be discussing about the uh, in next class we'll be discussing about the remaining rules of block diagram reduction technique, such as shifting takeoff point from before block to after block, shifting summing point from before block to after block, interchanging of summing point. All this will be discussing in next class. Okay, thank you.